Floor plans, video number 4. Continuing with our construction document, we will now create the porch layer for our front and back porch, as well as dimensions and room names, and then notes and hatching. Alright, before we add our porch layer, we need to circle back and change our cased opening to the overhead layer, an overhead opening. You'll notice that the element is one block. It's grouped together, so we will explode. Highlight and change to one overhead. That gives this line a little bit more thickness than the hidden lines for the kitchen and the bathrooms. All right, for the porch, since we placed this in Revit and the columns are already here, very simple again, we'll just change the layers and choose the one deck layer. It's not labeled porch, it's labeled deck, same thing. We will need to explode these blocks here. So X, enter, explode, X, enter, re-highlight, change to one deck. All right, and then go to the back where the concrete slab is we placed, and also change this to the one deck layer. All right, so the beauty of AutoCAD is that when we change these layers, we can turn things on and off quickly, which is why we group things together within certain layers, as well as the line thicknesses, as we mentioned before. So good thing to know if we ever wanted to show a drawing without the porches. For example, we can turn off the light bulb and those porches will disappear. A lot of utility there with the layers and turning layers on and off. And the beauty of Revit is Revit gave us all of these lines. Long time ago, before Revit existed, folks would draw home plans in AutoCAD without any imports. Each line was drawn with the line tool. So we've come a long way, and you guys are reaping the benefits of a lot of good technology that's come out. But we're still going to use CAD for our construction documents because CAD is a lot cleaner than Revit's drafting tabs and the infrastructure all in Revit. We will learn that one day. We will learn how to create construction documents in Revit. However, AutoCAD is still used in the industry as well. Okay, so moving on from porches to our dimensions. Dimensions are very simple to do. We will change our layer ahead of time to the dimension layer. And then we will select our Annotate tab. And our template file has loaded in standard text sizes and standard dimension sizes. So when we print this document, our scale will be 1/4 inch equals a foot. That means 1/4 inch of drawing space on the paper when it's printed is equal to 1 foot of building space, the feet and inches inside the building. So you won't need to know anything more than that. The only thing you need to know is you're printing at a quarter scale. 1/4 inch of paper is equal to a foot of building. And we will need to make sure that our dimension sizes and our text sizes reflect this. So we are going to select the standard 1/4 inch text size and the dimension 1/4 inch dimension size. And once we do this, we will match what we have on our blueprint provided in the classroom. And we will go back to, we can select the linear button here in the Annotate tab, or we can go back to Home and the linear button is also here. So either way is fine, it's the same command. Click on Linear, and our Object Snap, we will click on the stud line. So if it's helpful for you, you can turn off the stud, or excuse me, the sheathing layer. You can turn this off, and you will only be able to select the stud lines. The reason for this is when you're framing a home, the plywood and the outside siding is not there at that current time. So we need numbers that show from the stud lines. So you'll see here in the final example, all of the dimensions are selected on the stud. So if it helps you to turn these lines off, please do. If not, that's okay as well. Just make sure you're selecting the correct line. All right, so back up to our working model here. We'll click on the linear button, select the stud. Now our first line of dimensions covers the doors and windows, the distances between the studs of an exterior wall and the center of the openings for doors and windows. All right. And we drag this down as far as we can so that it's outside all of the walls in the home. All right, and we will continue. We can click the Annotate tab, and there's a button here under the Dimensions section that is Continue. So this is going to start another line from the endpoint that we selected. So if I click Continue, it's going to add on a second dimension from the center of the door to where I select Next. I'm going to pick the center of the window opening, and then this tool continues as long as I use it, and when I'm done I'll press Escape. So same thing, we see a stud wall here. So stud wall, window, 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 and wall. All right, I'm done. We can press Enter or Escape, either way. And now we have our line of dimensions. Okay, so you'll repeat this procedure for all 4 sides of the home. And then our second line of dimensions is just to the walls. So the first layer, or the first line of dimensions, is windows, doors, and walls. Second line is just walls. So I'm going to use my linear button. I'm going to select the stud again. We have to click on the wall itself. And we'll click on this wall. And then drag my dimension down. And that's to the walls only. And then continue. And I'm going to go to the other wall here. So as many times you have walls that appear, you'll have a line of dimensions. So we have 2 walls, a section here and a section here, so I have 2 dimensions. And then the third line is the overall. So the entirety of the home, which should be 34 feet because our title of the home is 34 by 34 guest house. All right, so that's how you quickly place dimensions. You'll do dimensions for this space, out here, and up top. You may have a question that you only see 2 lines of dimensions. That's okay because we only have 1 wall. If we had 2 sets of walls, one here, then we would have this second line of dimensions, and then the overall. Here we just have our window and then the overall. Completely fine. We just want to make sure that we have a defined boundary. So if we have these 3 dimensions, we total them up and they equal this. That's why we do that. It's quick for the estimator, and it's quick for the framers in the field. Okay, so once you've done all of the dimensions on the outside, you'll do the same for the inside. You'll select the stud wall again on the inside, and then you'll take the line across and you'll grab these inside corners. We're going to go on the left-hand side, here and here, across to the left-hand side here, left-hand side of the wall here, and then across to the middle, or to the inside of this stud. So you'll do that across here, across this section here, and then a vertical section here. Okay. Please note that the dimensions are on the bottom here. It's the left side of the wall if we were rotated around. Just keep that consistent throughout. You won't for this one, but you could choose the right side of each wall instead of the left. But let's keep that consistent on the left so your numbers match with what's on the floor plan. All right, so take your time, work on your dimensions. Remember, the details matter here. This is how the framers will frame the home. So we want to make sure we get this part right. This is the most important part of the construction document piece. All right, complete your dimensions, and then we'll move on to room names and notes.